Lisa. And
Lisa. You only knew.
so Quickie Christmas gifts, we're here. We are going to be showing you a ton of projects, and our goal is to, at the very end, have 2 projects that we're going to be making today.
Only 2?
So, only 2 that we're going to make. So
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to take these reindeers off because they're jingling too much. So I'm going to take mine off. What about you? No? Well, okay. Well, you're going to be on your own, woman. All right, so we wanted to show you a bunch of projects that you could do for Christmas. Now, Christmas stuff shouldn't, in my opinion, be Christmas only. Because if you do Christmas stuff and you get together with them at Christmas, then, well, thank you. I get to use it today, and then I put it away for next year.
Yep.
So I'm going to recommend for all you guys, you know, the guys in your life, grab some fabric that will be guy friendly. So when we show you projects, I want you to think guy fabric, sports fanatics, you know, all of the, and that's not just a guy, the kids, the adults, you know, all those themes of fabrics. I just decided to grab some of my fabrics today. I don't know if y'all can tell, but that's Marvel. And then don't just look at fabrics, look at clothes. These are pants. And I love that I've got these pants with, do you know who that is?
Yeah, that's C-3PO.
Yeah, C-3PO. So these weren't mine. I wouldn't wear C-3PO pants. So when we're looking at projects today, I want you to think about fabric choices. So if we show you projects that are kind of more feminine or more kitchen or whatever, change the fabric. All right, are you going to talk about this?
Yeah, we will. Are we ready to talk about it?
This is the coolest thing. And it's not really required for a Martelli template, but Martelli rulers for sure,
and Martelli rulers make it where it's going to be more accurate and everything. So we saw this tutorial online, and I believe it was on YouTube, and it was called Notches, Notches sewing. She actually has a YouTube channel. And she's the one that's done this video. And I absolutely fell in love with that. When I first saw it, I sent it to Linda and I said, will you look at this? Because this is actually doing a towel topper that is not putting a ton of bulk underneath your machine, particularly when you're having to you know, do that running stitch and gather it all up so you not have a lot of bulk underneath
and
there.
Broken needles.
Broken needles. But one of the things we also loved was you're not dealing with snaps, Velcro, buttons, buttonholes. You're not having to deal with any of that because it just works, and it works with any towel that you're working with. And I'm going to pull this over so you can see. Imagine this was on a handle like your stove handle or dishwasher or whatever handle that you have. How cool they are that these fit on here.
You
so
can
here's
take it on
the
and
fall
off.
ones, and to take them off, you literally just grab this and pull it down, and it just comes right off. So these are probably just about the coolest little thing. And then to reattach it, you just have it forward, grab it, pull it down. You're going to have to flip this around, but how cool is that? And it's just amazing. And I got the other one on the bottom. I got the Christmas ones down here on the bottom. So these whipped up in no time. Literally can make a couple of them in just like 30 minutes. So now tell her about the friend that you.
All right, so I have been talking with others about this, sending links because I think it's such a cool thing. And I had somebody that called me and she says, I've done 40, 40 of them. So, and she's thinking about maybe putting them in one of those little vendor kind of booths to be able to sell some for next year. So for anybody that wants to be making things where you're doing a ton of them, that's the way to go.
So it's a free pattern. It's a free YouTube. And like I said, it was Notches Sewing on YouTube, Notches. And I want to say it's basically 2 squares that you're cutting. One is 7 by 15, and the other one, it's a rectangle, and then the other one is 7.5 by 8. So you're cutting those 2 rectangles, and that's all you need. And then you're going to have your fabric, that your towel, and these are just tea towels or cheap little kitchen towels that I cut in half so I could get 2 out of them. So it was really easy to do the little pleat on here, to sew it all together. it was just amazing. I was just quite impressed with this
I
one.
will say I've talked to lots of people about towel toppers because I have a towel topper template that's coming out. I've got a friend customer that has me making a bell one that's really cool. But she talked about when you're spending the time on this, if you use a junky towel here, it's not going to hold up in the wash. So if you are going to spend the time on this, then get a decent towel on the bottom. So, and again, half a towel really works
I mean,
just
I get
fine.
some really good towels. Like here we got Bells, or we've got TJ Maxx, or we've got Home Goods, or what is my son's favorite place, Bed Bath and Beyond. You can get some nice little towels and then cut them in half. These are a little bit more higher quality, but they're just nice. And you know, again, I know it's not a Martelli project, but I just fell in love with how easy these are, and how they'll make the cutest little projects. So now let's go to some Martellis.
Well, so
that
I
we
want to
have.
stay with the kitchen theme
Yeah, we're
because
gonna stay with
kitchen to me
kitchen.
is always a great gift to do. And you can put it in a bag, you can wrap it up in a box, but you can also put it in a curvy bag, a tasket basket, one of my storage pods, whatever. So when you're making these, I really want you to think themes. So I was going to say, I knew there was something
there were
else that we
several
wanted to
things that we
grab.
had
Here,
done.
here, this guy. And didn't you have one more that you did?
I
We'll
do
find
not
it.
know.
As we get through the pile, we'll find it. So it'll show
Might
up.
be over there
So,
in that pile. I mean, I don't know.
I don't remember. I thought you
Okay.
made one more.
I
Anyway.
can't remember.
Anyway, the oven mitts are so much
Yeah.
fun. And remember, we have the child and the adult
This one is
size.
done with the child.
And the child is not really child. It's really just a smaller hand.
smaller
So
hand.
it's perfect for women, you know, that are of average size. You know, anybody that likes a little bit more room, then go with the adult. But if you like something a little more tight, then the child size works great. And what I love about this is that the inside looks like binding. So
like
faux binding. You can top stitch if you want, but you don't have to because it automatically gives you a little bit of that
Because
faux
you're
binding.
sewing all the way around, you're just leaving an opening that you could pull it all the way through, and then you just stitch that close. And then when you push it back up in here, you would never know that you had done it that way. So got a full tutorial on there. If you go to just the website and go straight to the oven mitts, I think it's right there on the main page. Plus we also have this on the Creating with Martelli and the Martelli Notions YouTube channel. So
Yeah.
you can find it on there too.
And I love choosing a fabric that you have coordinating fabrics, and then you make several projects out of that. So with that one,
Oh yeah,
Lisa,
I know what I had made with this one. Let me grab it because it was the bowl.
the basket.
It was the little
Where
baskets.
is it? All right, you keep talking about that.
keep
We're going to,
talking.
when we get to that bowl, we're going to be referencing the NCW. So for those of you that took G's class, the NCW, and you bought those templates, that template makes a wallet, of course, but it also makes some other cool things. Lisa's going to show you the basket, but she also made this out of it too. So now she made it, and I said, well, I would change it. So if you notice, she's got basically the NCW, this guy here is just the base, and then she added just a line here and a line here. What I would do, because I've made a bunch of oven mitts
just
over the
folded
years,
it.
I would fold this back and then
Oh, yeah.
stitch this here
Yeah, she would
so
stitch
that
it.
it's easier to get your hands in. So here you can see I'm kind of have to fight a little bit to get my thumb in here and to get my hand in here. Or you can do two hands like this. But again, if you had a little bit of an opening, so this part right here would be the opening, and you could fold that back. But
Yeah.
this is this, but configured differently.
Yeah,
So-
configured differently. It's a necessary clutch wallet, the big oval, if you didn't already say that. So that's what, so here's the 4 different things that we had made with this color coordinating. This right here is a casserole hot pad. So it's got Insel Bright in here, just straight line quilting. You know, it's reversible. So again, if you want to make a whole set for somebody's kitchen or a housewarming, or they just got themselves a new home, or they just got married, it's one of those really cool things that you could quickly make up something matching for their holiday season.
You notice I put a couple of these inside of here. You roll these up. You have a piece of fabric that you've cut as a binding. You wrap it around here. All of these things can go in the tasket basket, sticking up, and it would be a really nice gift. And again, if you're thinking about making things to sell, this is a really nice coordinated outfit, really, when you think about an outfit for your kitchen, it's a great way to put things together.
Yeah.
I was going to make one of these out of this, but I thought, hey, I'll just show it to you instead. So circle template, circle template. This one, when I cut this circle, I basically just put the edge of the circle around and cut. Binding around here, binding around here. Again, Insul Bright. Just some straight stitching here, and then you get whatever it is. And it may be that you're doing, you know, brownie mix, or, you know, for Christmas, some sugar cookie mix, and then maybe some
Fudge.
decorator. Yeah, fudge would, yes, fudge that was already made
brownie.
would be perfect too. So you stick those in here, but it's a nice little pot holder. So
Yep.
kitchen items to me are always, even if you're a guy, I think they're great to give. And talk about that, because we've seen that before.
Okay, so I was looking at, you know, again, this is Quickie Christmas gifts, and there ain't nothing quicker than making quick little napkins. And these are just this half circles, 2 half circles, where you just are literally sewing them together, and then you're just folding it. There's a little bit of sewing in between. Loads and loads and loads of videos online on how to make these double-sided Christmas tree napkins. If you really want to top napkins, I mean, I even brought more napkins up here.
Where'd they go?
I don't know.
I don't know if they ever made it here.
Yeah, they're up here.
All right, so we'll
All right,
we'll
so,
end up
I mean, I was
finding it.
just sewing simple napkins where I think they're right here.
Oh,
Simple napkins. I mean, again, Quickie Christmas gift. Simple napkins where you serge it and then you quickly sew it under, or you could do a napkins, and I don't know where they went. I had some mitered, cornered. I had 3 or 4 different napkin styles that I had brought up here. Here's another one of the, what I like about this one is just showing you, you know, how easy, these are just so easy. These are just half circles. So we got the circle template, you know, go ahead and utilize it. Make a whole circle, cut 2 of them out. You're going to have enough to make 2 of these trees. So awesome quick project.
and I have a video on YouTube that I did years ago, but mine is a full circle. So if you want to do a bigger napkin, you can do a full circle, and you'll see how I fold it and how it's done. It's the same look. It's just one of those
It's
cool
thicker.
things.
I've seen it, though. I've seen the bigger-
it's
the
just,
bigger ones.
It's got more napkin fabric there too.
Yeah, so again, you know, napkins, decorative stitching, just easy to do. Now she's getting ready to show you something.
All right, so this is from our friend Beth. So these guys here, these towel boas, it's just a towel cut in half, a strip of fabric sewn. But when you're wearing this, it's a great way to wipe your hands off on the towels instead of on your clothes, on an apron or whatever it is. So these are a lot of fun, and these make great gifts. So, and you can do the nicer towels, you can do the junky towels. It's totally up to you.
Yeah.
I talked about aprons, so I love doing little aprons, and this is a towel. And this is one of those towels that grabs everything. So I don't recommend using the towel that grabs, but it's just a really cute apron that you can make for the kids that are going to be in the kitchen cooking with you, or if they're just sitting at the table while you're cooking.
Or they're
but you can
decorating
do
cookies or something, protect their clothes.
So just fun stuff to do. If you're going to make aprons, again, the Guy fabric here, this is a different style apron. My dad had asked me years ago to do aprons for him in the wood shop, and he wanted an apron that he could get on and off easily. So what I always say is, when you make an apron like this, you need to have that person around you, because this is elastic and this is elastic. It's kind of hard with all the black, but basically you're throwing this around your neck and you're throwing this over your head around your waist, so that there's no tie, there's nothing to adjust. If you have that person near you, then you can adjust how much of the elastic you need here and how much of the elastic you have there. If you don't have that person, you can use a thinner elastic and tie a knot in it around the neck. But these are always fun to do out of the themed fabrics, something that they're really into. This was another apron that I did years ago, and I love this apron because of this. Do you see how this gathers up? So again, there's nothing to tie at the neck. I never really thought about aprons as, hey, if I've got dirty hands, messy hands, wet hands, I don't want to have to untie or tie this. So this here has a casing and a casing here, and then you've got ribbon that's pleated down at the bottom. Out of all your blue jeans and all your leftovers, you can do cute little aprons. This is just a pair of blue jeans sewn here, and then do a nice little pleat, and then again, out of whatever fabric that you have. aprons for, bibs for the kids, but bibs for adults as well. So all those things are kitchen related. So kids
Yeah, here's
stuff.
some kids things. And now we had done these this last summer, and I thought, well, these are really cute and fast, Quickie Christmas projects. So these are those pencil roll-ups. And again, there's pencil or crayon roll-ups. Again, there's, like I said, there's so many videos online on making these. There's just a couple of strips of fabric. And this is like if you have kids that are into pencils or they've got markers, you could easily whip these out in no time. I think we actually made one online. When you have it all filled in here, it's one of those things that they roll it up and they can take it with them. So you got your pencils in here. This one's done with elastic, so you can just wrap it around. It'll hold everything in place. So here's some with elastic. Here's one with ribbon. Again, a very fast project that you can make for the children in your life.
All right, so you talked about this last week a little bit, but these are really quickie gifts too.
Yeah, these are, okay, so this is just little quick and simple hot pads or mug rugs. You know, these are just squares that, and then I just did some decorative stitching on here. But here, and I had a round one too, so these are where you've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares, and you're just folding them, and then you've got where you're interlocking them and then stitching all the way around. These are the wine cozies, or they can actually be a coaster. So here's a square one. Here's one that's done with circles. Lots of tutorials and videos out there on making these wine cozies. And you can make a whole bunch of these in a whole bunch of different color variations so that everybody would have their own unique wine cozy.
And I have one that's similar to that. You can see on the back side here. But then you also take a fussy cut fabric so that you can just do a simple piecing. And if you notice, it's off angled just a little bit. So it's not straight on, doesn't have to be exact, but these are all out of old clothes. So if you're making something for somebody that you haven't seen or whatever, grab their clothes, ask them to send, one of their loved ones to send you some of the clothes. So you can do a lot of these fun projects out of clothing that they have. Yeah. This is a fun project to do for...
So you've probably seen this one. This is for your cell phone holder. So this is one of our newest templates that we came out with. It's the cell phone holder template set. So it makes 2 different designs. You have the design where you've got your grommet, where this will hang where your power cube is right through here. I designed it with this so that it does it so it's not a fire hazard. It's got the double pockets on both sides. And then this one here is where I've designed it where the loop is turned, where this lays flat on top of your power cube right here, or it could be on a door knob. Here's with a single pocket, but then here it is with a double pocket. And so the templates are all in here so that you can make the different kinds, different sizes. So this would be a really good, fast and easy, it only takes minutes to make these projects that you can make.
And there's no video on this, but we have detailed directions with tons of pictures.
Yeah, detailed directions, lots of pictures.
Yeah. All right, so whenever you're out and about shopping, a bottle holder. So simple circle on the bottom and a rectangle and then your binding strips. So these are always fun to make. Add a pocket with elastic for a pair of glasses, for your car keys, for your cell phone. But it's just one of those simple gifts that somebody's going to love, and you can put whatever in there that you want. If you've got dog or cat lovers, then just these little zipper bags. It's just rectangles. You can use any of our templates that we have to create the box bottoms there. But just simple projects that are zipper bags. I love a zipper bag, and you stuff something in there. We talked about dog bandanas. We were going to show dog bandanas.
I got them over
So
there.
the dog bandanas, but all those cute things that you can make. So we've got dog bandanas. We've got it upside down there, but you get the idea. So you can make whatever it is. If it's a gift card to PetSmart or whatever it is, you know, those are the kinds of gifts that people will really enjoy. Make, again, out of their fabrics. If it's just a simple little whatever for your neighborhood boy, you know, again, it's just a box bottom here stuffed with some of his favorite candies or things that you picked up at the, you know, neighborhood. Somebody that loves tea, you know, make one of these. You can put pins in, but then you've got this with tea in there. You all have probably all made these little tea caddy things. You all have seen those, made those. This right here, simple to put the favorite coffees, teas, whatever it is. But you can splurge and get really nice teas too. So it can be something they really enjoy. When we did the retreat, we showed a lot of other projects. And one of the things that we're selling on our website is the vinyl sheets. And a
Yeah.
lot of time you don't really know what to do with the vinyl. So I made a bunch of vinyl boxes, and these are done with the rectangles and just a box bottom again or not. The zipper here, you add a little doodad so it makes it fun. This is a zipper itself. If you've got leftover zippers, you can add, this is a headband, elastic, the zipper down the middle. This is the same thing. It's just a zipper at the top versus the middle. Same thing with this. This is flat. And add all those decorative elements that you have. So you decide how you want to do it, but the idea is they're all done with those things that maybe you've bought from the website, the vinyls, and then you're like, what do I do with it? So this right here is just one that goes right on top of your notebook. So you put the elastic around, that's just a headband, and now you've got all of your stuff that you want right there with you, ready to go. I like these. You can make all different sizes. This is a popcorn zipper bag because it kind of expands. So you can see it lays flat, but when you've got stuff inside of there, it'll hold a whole lot of goodies. So if you're going to give somebody a check or gift whatever it is, that's a fun way to do it too. We talked about the NCW, just as a reminder. Do you want to show that again?
Yeah, the necessary clutch wallet, you know, we're talking about Quickie gifts. It is a Quickie gift because you can literally make these in, you know, in a couple of hours. So we wanted to be sure to include these as a really nice Quickie gift that you can make for your loved ones. And here is the whole template set. But in playing with this, I was able to make some more things with it. Are we going to talk about that now, or you want to talk about a few more things? We need to talk about a few more things before we get into the big
I think
one.
before we get into that. But this is the NCW. This is what it's designed to make. And we did, G did a really detailed class on this with all kinds of little tips and tricks for you, suggestions there. If you have this mesh that we sell them red and blue. These are cute little bags. If you want to make something for, you know, one of your sewer friends, then get some of our wide mouth clips and put them inside here. Box bottoms down here, simple to do.
Red, blue, and black, I believe, the colors that we have on
Yeah, and when you use fabric on the bottom, it's easier to sew through than it is when you use the mesh on the bottom. Just one of those little tricks. Yeah. But if you notice on that one at the top, there's the mesh for the handle, and over here we've got a zipper tab for the handle. So this one is made from Darla. This is one that I did during the retreat, and I love the idea of making these in whatever shapes and sizes. So these I love doing just little things like this. It's got the little clip that goes on a backpack, whatever it is. You can put a gift card, you can put money in it, whatever it is you want to give. Super fast, easy. Same thing with these. You know, you decide, are you doing checks? Are you doing gift cards? Are you doing money? Are you doing candy bars? Whatever it is. Dog, the doggy bags, whatever. So all of these are so fun to do. The little tissue holder, when we look at the project that I'm going to be making later, I want you to remember the tissue holder. The binding here isn't a binding. It's the lining from the inside. So remember that, because I'm going to reference that. The hum bag, I showed you all the hum bag during the retreat, but this is just a rectangle. Fill it with candy and stick some money in there. And what a wonderful gift that is. Use whatever fabric here for your handles, and it's just a cute little bag to carry when you're out shopping. Whether you use the hexagons that we have for our clips, or you're using whatever kind of bowl, a little bowl filled with candy with a gift card underneath, or just the candy, or muffins or bread or whatever in there.
Like we've done before.
Yeah. All right. I think we've shown everything that we wanted to show as far as the project's going. We're ready to start sewing.
Okay, so this is, I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to pull over the big red rain, big this. So this was the project that I had come up with a necessary clutch wallet, and so here's the whole display of our goldenness right here. And this was made, that's where the sleigh is made out of this piece right here. This was the necessary clutch wallet, the large oval. So those of you who may not have it, here's the dimensions on this oval. This oval is 16 inches long, and I believe it is 11, hold on, let me get it correct. It is 9 inches wide, 16 inches by 9 inches. And then you got the curve. The curve starts at about, at the 4-inch mark. So I believe it starts at the 4-inch mark. So that's what this is. And if you have the curve up template, you'd be able to probably help you with getting these curves right here. So this here, I'm going to take the deer out of the way, lift it up. So this is that piece right there. We're going to make it, and I think, where's the one that we just made that's not, oh, it's down here.
You got it?
Yep.
Oh,
so this was it. This was what had started it, was making this little thing right here because it looked like a sleigh to me. So I did it in the red and the gold. So we're going to make one, and I'm going to show you how I made it if you're going to use either the template here or if you want to design yours own. Again, it's 16 inches by 9 inches wide, and then you got your curve that goes around on that. So I'm going to set this aside. How I made this is you're going to need not only this template, but you're also going to need a 3-inch triangle. So here is what, if I was to just make it with just fleece, or not, excuse me, batting. So here I've got batting. I've got 2 pieces of fabric that are cut, the outside and the lining, and then I've got batting on this one. But if I was going to do the red and the gold one, same thing, I could use batting, or I could use fusible fleece. So what I have found the best to do was, after I got my cut piece cut out, as what I have right here, imagine this completely cut out, and I have it fused onto, whether I'm using fusible fleece, if I'm using batting, I've got it with a little bit of basting spray on here, just kind of holding it in place. And then I got to mark my triangles. And let's see what I do with those triangles. Okay, here. So I don't have a 3-inch triangle. I have a 3.5-inch triangle. So how I had done this after I had cut out my piece was I just laid it onto my mat. I'll show you like here. And I have it on one of my, the 1/2-inch mark on my mat. So I have it laying on my 1/2-inch mark on here. And what I had done was I came over 1, 2, 3 inches from where it is. So 1, 2, 3 inches on each side. And I put a little mark. I marked it, and I marked it 3 inches on each side, top and bottom, 3 inches in. Then I took my triangle. If you don't have a 3-inch, because you would set your 3-inch right there on that, but I didn't have a 3-inch, I just had my 3.5-inch. So I set my 3.5-inch on the line, on the 0 line, so that this is right there on that 3-inch line, and I drew my mark. And I drew it on just one of the pieces, because then I'm going to take them and I'm going to stack them on top of each other. And I'm going to do it on all 4 edges, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to take my other piece and I'm going to just set it right there on top, because I want these to be cut identical. So I'm lining it all up. Then I'm going to take my template, line it back onto here again, and now I'm going to go ahead and do my cuts. Cut, cut, and cut. Cut out my triangles all the way around so that it's going to look like this. All the pieces are cut right here. It's a 3 inches here, 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 here. Remember, it was 3 inches in from the edge where I marked it, and that's where it started my 3-inch piece right here. If you can see, if I put it in between the 31 and the 34, it's a 3-inch triangle all the way around. So you're going to have it done on the inside piece and the outside piece. And so the only thing left to do is you're going to quickly sew it. So what you're going to do is just going to line up these, you're going to fold it over, and I'm going to stitch here. I'm going to back tack, and then I'm going to stitch here and here, here and here, and here and here. I'm going to do it to both pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the sewing table, and we're going to get these sewed up real quick. And then you're just nesting them together, stitching them around, leaving an opening, flipping it out. This goes together so quickly. So that's how I'm going to show you how to make this. Any questions out there? I don't know, because we're not able to see anything, but I really wanted to get this, particularly for you. I believe it's Miss Kathy Bonds, that you're the one who's really wanted to know how to make this. So again, it was a 16 inches by 9 inches, and then 3 inches in from the very edge is where you start your triangle, but you just do your curve. So I just literally have them all, both pieces cut like this, and I'm just putting them right sides together, and I'm just going to stitch this 1/4 inch. And this one here I have with fusible fleece on it. This is a project that goes together really quick. Okay, so when you have it, that's it right there. So those all the sewed. So now I'm just going to nest them together, right sides together. And I'm going to match up my seams right here. I'm going to put a clip in it. This is the side I'm going to probably leave open for turning. I'm going to clip it over here. I'm just going to clip it all the way around. It's only going to be 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to just sew it all the way around. Then I'm just going to, I could pink my edges or I could clip them, and then I'm just going to flip it out. I'm going to leave a little opening. I'm going to leave my opening right here at this little spot right here. And I'm just going to sew this all the way around at 1/4 of an inch. And just keeping everything lined up and just go. Let's get the walking foot part all bit on. How are we doing on time, Linda?
It's 2:34.
Okay. Now, if you had some pinking shears, and I believe I have some over here, it'd make it a little bit easier. And I'm not going to pink all the way around, just going to pink right here where it curves. Linda, why don't you tell them what you're going to be making?
I'm going to be making the snap bags, and so many of you said you wanted to see it, and it amazes me that not everybody knows how to do it. I am going to show you a different way than is typical. So I like to always have a cheater method, so I'm going to show you how to cheat.
There we go. All right, so then I'm just going to get in here and pull this, and I'm kind of worried that I might have not made my hole big enough, but we're going to try to get her through. Of course, I'm battling with the glittery fabric, and it's a little bit tougher. Who is it that Heather says she makes very little bitty? Little bitty.
Oh my goodness,
Little bitty,
yes.
tiny
All of you that
openings.
do the hand work, I miss those days. I used to do a lot of that, but yeah, this is the birthing the baby here.
Oh yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, the fairy frost is harder to do for sure.
Yeah, because you're got some friction going on with that glitter.
It's just also a little stiffness too.
Yeah. Of course, I probably made my opening just a bit too small. But we're going to prevail. We're getting there. Ah, there we go. All right. And with my trusty little needle, I'm going to just kind of push everything out. And then all I would do is maybe hit it with an iron and just basically just top stitch it all the way around to close up that opening. And that's all it is to it. So how did I make the sleigh part? Went to Linda's favorite store. Y'all know what that is, right? Went to Dollar Tree. I picked up a couple bricks of Oasis and some floral picks, and just I cut them all off and put them into, I hot glued the Oasis on the inside. I think I just used 2 little small bricks in there. So that's it. I didn't, I will just top stitch. I don't even think I top stitched it. I think I just hand stitched it closed on this one. And because I wanted that gold to go all the way around.
It's the faux binding.
Yeah, the faux binding. I don't think I top stitched it. So I think I hand stitched the opening closed because I wanted that, keep it, that look. And this here is
M&Ms.
M&Ms filled in those empty candy cane things.
The plastic ones.
Yeah, so then I got the really thin gold garland, wrapped it all the way around, hot glued it on here. Now these pieces right here are from the picks that I had used when I'd cut off the pieces of the pick, but I kept these stems. So this is what made this stable. And then after I had it completely filled, then I can just set it on here. And to me, it looks like a sleigh. And those little reindeer I picked up at Target for $5. So easy peasy to make the cute little sleigh nice and gaudy. All right, so that is my Quickie project. So Linda, take it away.
And it really is a Quickie project. You know, if you're making it, just forget the reindeer for a minute and all of that, just to put baskets of bread and whatever it is that you wanted to serve in there to put on your table. I thought was really nice. Okay, so snap bags. Snap bags have measuring tape. So this stuff inside of here. So you're basically using a triangle. I'll show you a different option, and it just snaps closed. I'm going to show you a way that gives you a raw edge. We're going to finish it off with either a serger or with a zigzag, but it's the fastest way to do it. I like adding some kind of a little whatever it is, whether it's a carabiner or these that I have here that just grab onto backpacks or wallets or, belt loops or whatever it is. Okay, so I mentioned the Quickie method, the cheater method. So one is this fabric is a solid piece of fabric right here. So I'm not having to piece that. I'll talk about where I got that and I'll show you those in a minute. So that's one method. The other method is this right here that gives me the casing. That is the lining. So just like this that I talked about earlier, this fabric here needs to be a little bit bigger than it is here. Now for Dollar Tree tape measures, this tape measure, you can see it's narrower than good expensive tape measures. Do not use your husband's tape measure. You do not need to put that in there. But do you see how that really grabs? I want you to take 2 Dollar Trees, tape them together. You can see I've just taped them together. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So, but this is narrower than this. So if you're using a wider tape measure, then the measurement that I'm going to give you will need to be wider. So let's take a look. And by the way, you're going to use junky scissors. You don't use your good sewing scissors, good fabric scissors. Okay, so I've got a rectangle of fabric. You can make whatever size, whatever shape, whatever configuration you want. It's just when you're doing this, you can see if I place this down here, from here to here, I have 4 inches. 4 inches is going to give me plenty for this casing for this tape measure here, the thinner one. If you're going to go with the wider one, then I would give at least 5 inches, maybe even more. And you can always top stitch here and top stitch here if you need to make it a little bit tighter. So you just decide how much. You notice here I've got a prairie point here and a prairie point there. Okay, so I mentioned that this is the same fabric. You can use fabric, one piece of fabric where it's the same on the front, same on the back, But when we were at Houston, we talked about being inspired by Houston, and I was inspired by panels. These were panels that were face masks. So face masks that they had Santa's Little Helper. That was a face mask, and you're supposed to be pleating that. This was a face mask, and you're supposed to be pleating that. This is a face mask for adults, and you're supposed to be pleating that. Same thing with this. So these, the way they printed out on fabric, they were back to back, just a whole bunch of them. This one, because this was back to back, I had to stitch those two. You can't really see it, but I had to stitch those two together because this would have been upside down. So if you are going to use directional fabrics, make sure when you're doing this, you've got it in the right direction. Notice here too, instead of the prairie point, I just did a little tab because I have Santa's nose and I didn't want to have that big point on his nose. Okay, so for the cheapy Dollar Tree kind of tape measure, I've got 4 inches. What we're going to end up doing is using a fusible foam. You can use whatever it is you want. If you're doing a batting, you want to do some kind of quilting here. I've just stitched along, even though it's fusible, I did want to stitch to have everything held in place. I've stitched my prairie points on. It's just a square that's been folded and then folded in half again diagonally. We're going to stitch these down here, and then we're going to pull this and we're going to stitch this there. What that ends up giving me is one that's a little bit larger on one side, just like the tissue holder that I have here. When I flip this around, and you can see this one is much smaller, when I flip this around, I'm going to end up seeing that this and this need to be evened out. So at the ironing board, we're just going to check to make sure this is the same out. See how I have too much here and not enough there? So we'd make sure that we get that lined up, and then we're going to stitch from here to here. From here to here. So stitch and stitch just to hold those together. And then I like to stitch here, and then I'll stitch right at the edge here. We'll see that in the next one. But see right there with the little prairie point, this is going to be the casing for that tape measure to go inside. Once we do that, we're basically going to have that on one side and that on the other side. Look how cute that would be. Add a little chain for a strap if you want to give this to a little girl. So you can do whatever kind of fabrics. I just loved that these were already printed for me, ready to go. Okay, so we've got that. When we stitch those together, you can see again, I stitched here, stitched here. I've stitched all of these together, so that gives me a little bit more stability there. We're going to place this along, and we want to make sure that this seam and that seam line up. You can see I need to square this up a little bit, so that's a step that we are going to ignore for now. We would stitch this side here, one side down. Back stitch really well here, back stitch really well all over all of this. We're going to leave one side, this side, open, not only to put our tape measure in there, but also to put one of these in here too. We'll look at that in a second. When you stitch that one side down, then you can go ahead and turn, and if you want to, take a look and see where you want this placed. Do we want it here? Do we want it further up? Whatever it is, but you're just looking at that for placement. And then we're going to leave it like this, and that is where we are here. When you do that, you can see I've stitched this on. We're just going to do binding tape, basically, you know, where we take that fabric and we fold, you know, basically in half, and then we press, and then we fold this down, we fold this down. You guys have done this 1,000 times. You're going to do the top stitching and then place this in. Put that on there before you stitch that down, because you'll be ripping it out otherwise. So you can stitch all of this down, leave this open, leave this open. When you do your tape measure is super sharp. So we don't want to cut straight off, we want to cut at an angle. When you cut at an angle, smooth that angle off. Even here, this is a little bit rough, and then we're going to use any kind of electrical tape, duct tape, whatever it is, and then put tape on there. I put a piece of tape on here, and then I'll wrap a piece of tape over here and wrap the piece of tape over here. However it is that you do, when this goes inside, you're going to play with this, because some tape measures will go better in one direction than another. Here are the measurements. The measurements going to the inside, this is the outside, the measurements going to the inside is what they tell you to do, but what I found is that you kind of have to go from tape measure to tape measure. When you do one, go ahead and stick it in there, and you can see when I push all the way, I'm pushing to that edge, I've got about that much play there. That's about a 1/2 inch, and that's about how much shorter we want this to be. It's really about an inch. We're going to stitch all of this together. When we stitch that together, that gives me that piece, and when I've got this in here, you're going to very carefully, when you stitch, turn it over. But before we turn it over, we want to, I'm going to fight a little bit because I've got that tape measure in there, and if you are using the $40 tape measure that Lisa cut up, you're going to be fighting with it a lot harder than I am here. But I'm using the cheapies, and I've got 2 of those taped together, but they're still going to work just fine. And what I did was I stitched less than 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I zigzag, zigzag. If you have a serger, stitch first, and then you can serge the edge, however it is you want to do it. If you've got that white fusible foam showing, then you can take a Sharpie, if you really care, and go color the white in with one of the matching Sharpies that you have there. But you can see that gives me a good enough finish for me to have this be a really practical bag. And I've used these bags when I've traveled on the planes, and they last and last and last and last. If you put the tape in too loose, if you made it too short, they're not going to snap closed. So if you have coins in here, the coins are going to go falling. So if you find that it's not holding, you've either got the tape in the wrong direction or you've made it too short. And if you made it too short, then you just stitch, you know, take this apart a little bit and stitch down here and stitch down there. You want to be able to grab and have that snap open and snap close. So you can do prairie points large, you can do prairie points small, or you can do these little guys. I love these. I think that's just a different look. And again, you can do whatever size if you wanted to do shorter, longer, whatever. So, all right, guys, I think we got through all the projects. Oh, we have one more.
I forgot to mention a couple of things that I had also brought that would be great little Quickie Christmas gifts. I've seen, this is that Shannon fabric.
Yeah.
This is,
it feels so wonderful.
There's some videos on there. This is a thing because I made this a couple years ago thinking I would be using it. I have never used it. It never gets really cold enough here for this minky scarf.
Except in this building.
Yeah, except up here where we actually got gloves. So,
but it's an infinity scarf.
It's an infinity scarf made with minky. It's literally minutes to make this. So this is a really quick Christmas quickie gift. And then here's one that my daughters love this. And there's, again, lots of YouTube videos out there on these. They literally take 3 18-inch squares and then a 27 by 18-inch rectangle to make what is called an origami bag. I've made them out of regular cotton. I've made them out of canvas. Here's one in more girly colors. Here's one with some fabric that we had here at the shop where it's just the trucks and the license plates, and I thought it would be really cool to have the orange in here. So again, lots of videos on here. The video that I used is, the group is called So Yeah, SEWWYEAH, and he has this origami bag tutorial on there. Really good, really easy, so be sure to check that out. And then I wanted to show something else that I had made last year. Again, it's a Christmas project, but it's quick Christmas project. I'm used the Martelli templates, the 10.5-inch squares, the strip rulers, the diamonds to make this. This is Jordan Fabrics Christmas tree skirt. Christmas tree skirt. This was very fast. I literally made this in an afternoon, this Christmas tree skirt, and because I used Martelli tools and templates, it all went together really, really fast. So that's a couple of the last of it.
All right, so stitch during the holidays. You've got Thanksgiving this week. We hope you spend a wonderful time with your family and friends. And if you don't get to, stitch. We've shown you some projects. We can't wait to see what you all do with this. Email us at learn@martellinotions.com and have a wonderful holiday.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Bye-bye.